everyone, it's Laura from Laura's Handcrafted Treats and Treasures. Welcome to or back to my channel. So today we're going to work on a pocket and a tag, but I wanted to address this first before we move on. If you watched the last video, I said don't remove these clips until it's completely sewn in. But what I was finding is that my signatures were not snugging up to the spine. So once you get your sewing done, leave these on while you're sewing. And then once they're on, and I've already put one little knot in it, and remember you need to make sure that there's thread on either side. So once they're on, or the thread is in, take the clips off, and then that way you can snug it a little bit better to the spine. So I've already kind of done it a couple times, and there we go. Okay, and then of course I'm gonna go ahead and put my little glue my spine on here, my little spine there, and then I'm gonna get started on that pocket. Okay, so let's work on pockets, a pocket or pockets, and we're gonna do a tag for my first page. And it doesn't have to be your first page. You can pick out whatever page you want it to be on. But I did get my spine on and we're ready to go. So the first lesson that we're going to be doing at church during our journaling devotion time is going to be Deuteronomy 30:20, holding fast to him, for he is your life and length of days. And sometimes I have these bulletins that we don't use them all, so we don't print on them, and then I can take them and use the graphics. So this is sort of where we're going, but I'm just here to explain the tag. But if that gives you an idea for a group that you might want to start, go ahead. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a pocket. So I have a couple of pocket examples. Pockets are really, really easy. We're going to get to the tag later, but literally just getting some old book page. I like to use the Reader's Digest and just folding it. But you can use other things. So you can use scrapbook paper. You can use dictionary paper. Again, book pages. You can use wrapping paper. So you can use anything that you can think of, maybe an old bag. You could use a magazine that has, you know, like some graphics on it. So pockets are super, super easy. The only thing I stay away from is if the paper is brittle so that it doesn't crack when I fold it. I don't want it to crack. So on this first one, we are going to go ahead and we're going to do this, because this is the one I'm putting in my book. Now I've gone ahead and rounded my corners, but you may not have that, and that's fine. Just leave them the way they are, or take your scissors and just make yourself a nice rounded little corner. So let's go ahead and get the page. Now there is no rhyme and reason, and sometimes I start doing the page, I'm like, I gotta cut a little bit off, or however I just decide it has to be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna look at this page. Now I don't care for the whites on it. So I'm always going to fold in to get, well, it's not white, cream color. I just don't like the blank. I don't like the blank space. I like it to be filled. So that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fold there. Now this one is going to end up being, and there'll be different sizes according to your books, but make sure, I don't like them in this type of a book, I don't like them to be any more than 4.5 across. The width obviously I think is 7.5, yeah, 7 and almost 8. So you can make them tall if you want, but for this particular book, I don't like them to be any more than 4. But for this, because I'm trying to get rid of that space, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold this side in. Super easy, right? So you just have some folded sides. Okay, now again, I don't like this negative space. or blank space, as it were. And I'm just going to go ahead and fold that up. Now, if this was a thicker piece of paper, I might do this differently because I might want to get rid of some of that bulk. But because it's just very thin book page, I don't care about that bulk. I think it's just going to make a nicer pocket for me. So then we have that. Now I'm going to get that out of my way so my lighting is good. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, I want to fold it about here. I'm just going to fold it again. Okay. And now I am creating some nice little, you know, some heaviness there, some weight to it. So now I'm just wanting to get that corner pocket. I want it to be cornered. You could do it just like this. That could be your pocket right there. That's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to fold it over. I'm eyeballing it. Doesn't have to be perfect. I am just going to try to line it up to the other words. And there I have a pocket. Now you can see some coming over the edge here because, of course, when you fold this, you're pushing paper off to the edge. So what I'm going to do first, and just because I like to glue everything down. So this is just a glue stick. These are just some pages. This is out of the books. I have a lot of Reader's Digest, and I just use them up. So you can use any type of a glue stick. My favorite of choice when I'm working on my journals is Scotch Create. It is very, very durable. And of course, I've talked about art glitter glue, but I'm not going to waste that on this. This Elmer's will do just fine for this project. Only these little buggers are hard to open. So let me get my bigger book so I don't go over top. All right. Or I don't go on my mat. I'm going to get my bigger book. So this is just an old Stampin' Up book. When I used to be in Stampin' Up, I just saved them all because then I can use them for my surfaces. So I'm just going to go ahead, and this does dry clear. I'm going to get my edges folded down and glued down. Okay. And then I want to get the bottom. Now, if you don't want any of this hanging over, sometimes I just take my scissors and just give that a little miter. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. You can see I'm just kind of being willy-nilly. I'm not really like being heavy-handed with the glue. So now I'm turning this over, and this is gonna get to the back, but we can see that this is coming over the edge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my scissors and just snip off again another little corner there. And then if I feel like it, I might snip off that corner, and I feel like it. So I don't have anything peeking over the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all of that down. And it is really just this simple to make pockets. All right, and then we're going to glue this down. That looks pretty good. Now this one I'm going to give a little bit more glue to, only because it is my last piece and it's a little bit thicker than the others. I want to make sure it stays where I put it. Okay, there we go. And we have our pocket. Okay. And sometimes I'll just sit and I'll just make a bunch of these. I'll just have them in my stash and ready to go. Now, if you want, you can actually sew them. So I've done this before. I've sewn a lot of my stuff, and you just start and sew around, and then you have a nice stitched look. If you don't want to sew, you can always take a marker. If you like that stitched look, you can take a marker and just go around the edges like this. And to me, that's cool too, but it's just too tedious for me. And I don't sew except on paper, but I'd rather sew than have to do that. But some people, they find it very relaxing. If you have a corner punch, which let me see, I've got a couple different ones, and you want to put that punch in there. That's why I use my chomper, because it's a little heavier. You can put that in there, and then me, I like to ink things up. So I'm gonna go ahead and just ink all around there. Okay. And then if you want, you can decorate your pocket. So I'm gonna move on to the tag before I talk about decorating or get into decorating the pocket, because they can both be done at the same time. So let's move that out of the way and let's talk about a tag. All right, so this particular tag I did from scratch. Now this is also just as easy as taking something thin. Let me find my pocket. So this is just like a piece of, I don't remember where I got this, but it's thin. It's really thin. And I don't want it to start out super thick, because this is gonna get thicker as you go along. So you can take, again, scraps. I have lots of scraps in my little scrap bin here. In fact, I have 2 drawers of these. It's kind of ridiculous. And then I just go through, and then I would tear up pieces of it. So that would be a good one. Some music page would be a good one. That would be a good one. Whatever I want, however extensive I want it, however non-extensive I want it. Book page, I could do more book page, because we got lots of that. So now where did, oh, here it is. So now where's my tag? So I think I used 4 on here, it looks like. And it is as simple as ripping some paper. But before I do that, now this is, for me, it's not stark white, so I could definitely just leave it like that. But I ended up taking it and putting paper over it so that we'd have lines. I like lines, so for journaling, for me, I like to have the lines there. Now this is literally notebook paper from some of my other projects, and it's just coffee dyed. Now, coffee dyeing is super easy if you're just doing a few at a time, just to do some tags. I literally have a pan that when I'm actively coffee dyeing, when we get done with our filter in the morning, I just take the filter and I just dab it all over. I turn it, dab it all over, and leave it to dry. And I can get about 4 of these, I think, on one pan. I often do my bigger paper that way as well, because right now it's winter, and I like to coffee dye in the summer where I can set it in the sun. It bakes it a little bit better. Anyhow, what I would do is just glue this completely. So let's just go ahead and do it so you just kind of understand. And again, I'm just using the Elmer's glue stick that likes to give me a hard time. And this time I'm going to make sure I'm getting these edges super, super good. I want those to stick down. So I'm going to get this really well and get my edges. Now, if you don't like to get gluey, this probably isn't the project for you, because you're going to get sticky and gluey, and that's okay. I don't like to get sometimes like messy or gluey and stuff, but I don't mind the glue. But there's other mediums that I'm not really thrilled about getting icky. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just really push that down there, make sure it's on. And then it's going to curl, and that's okay. You can take your ruler. I can find mine in all my mess here. I got a big mess going on, so I guess I can get this box out of the way now. And you can take your ruler and start curling it back out. If you are a crafter and you have tools, you can take your bone folder and start curving that back out. Now mine's not quite dry, but I'm going to cut around it. Normally I would do a bunch of these. I'd walk away, let them all dry, and then I would cut around them. So before you start doing this side, you're going to want to cut your pattern out. And If you don't have these, I'm going to show you how to get them. That's super easy. Well, I'll just show you. Let me reach over here. So I've just cut out some templates, and then I just go through and snip my edges, and then there you go. Just keep it on hand, and then you have it handy. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out. Okay, and then we have our background. Now I wanted to show you this. This is what we would call sort of like a master board. So sometimes I have these little offcut pieces from when I'm actually putting papers into my journals, and they're kind of too big, so I have to cut them down. So I take these, and then I take a very thin piece of paper, like almost like a 20-pound weight paper, like copy paper, and then you do this. That way, if you get ready to back your tag, then you just have these ready to go. So that is another way that you can do it. And then when we get ready to start putting our papers on, I'm going to show you my example. I literally just start ripping. So let's see, we're going to do that. And you can see I've already used this one. Must have used it down here. So I'm going to sort of start in the corner, and I'm just going to start ripping. Now, depending on which way you rip your paper, you're either going to get a lot of the white or you're not. So if you rip backwards, as you can see, I'm not getting a lot of that white. If I rip forward, I'm getting a lot of that white. But to me, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to be inking that up anyway, because I like to ink. So that's going to end up right about there. I'm going to put some music paper underneath, and I don't need to rip anything on this one, because it's going to end up being underneath this piece. And then let's see, I just start, how do I want that one? I'm going to put it in the corner. It already has some ripped edges, so we're good there. And then I thought I had a book page. Let's just take some of this. Where's my books? Oh, I have some dictionary page. So maybe I'll just put some dictionary page at the bottom. Down here, I don't like the edge, but it's gonna go underneath, I think. I think I'm gonna do this one, but I want to round that corner. It just seems so harsh. Okay. But you get the idea. So what I'm gonna do is, like I said, this is gonna, I don't need that much of it there, but since I want to put, I want that music paper showing, I'm just gonna get this over here so that I can see the notes. And then this obviously is gonna be here. So I don't need to put that, I don't need to glue that much of the paper down, because I don't really need to create that much bulk. So I'm just gonna get that out of the way. And then a lot of times what I do is I like to put my glue directly on the tag, or you can just glue this way. Now let's see, I do not need inked edges for this, but I want to make sure it comes over far enough. So let's go ahead and get my book. You can use these for inking too, your book pages. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get that inked up. I didn't even need to keep all the bottom on here either, but I'm not gonna go back and take it off. So let's get this to the edge as far as we can. We want to make sure it's at least up to the top. I will be trimming it, but Get that down, and then that one's going to be on top of that, and that's going to be on top of that. So I only really need to ink just around here. Now this time I'm going to actually, I'm going to ink a little edge here, but then I'm going to ink this. So let me just do that right here. And how far does that come down? About that far. And then I'm going to ink this edge just so that when it hits that other side, I know it's gonna grab it. And you can see it's just kind of willy-nilly. I'm not really, you know, doing anything particular. So now I'm going to go ahead and ink up. This is going to be showing most of it. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And if you have gone over on your ink, make sure you're not letting it stick to the paper that you're using to press that down on. So this one's going to go here. I'm going to need probably about this much. That looks good. Probably too much, but that's all right. And I'm going to lay that right here. Oh, wait. Where's my other piece? I wanted to do that. You know what? It doesn't matter. I'll do this one, and then I'll put this one over top of that one. You got to think about that before you lay your edge down. Unless you're not inking, then you don't have to worry about it. Which, that still seems just like a harsh edge to me. I want it a little more wonky. Like right there, and that looks better. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get that corner. Now you can cut these down further if you want to. So I need about, looks like about this much of it, but you don't need to. You can kind of figure it out. It's all going to be cut away after it gets glued on anyhow. So there, and this glue dries clear. There's that one. Okay. Oop. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. Okay, so again, I'm going to let that dry. Make sure I don't stick it to that. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to cut all of this away from the back side, and then I'll go around and ink all of the edges, and I'll ink the back, and then you end up with something like this. So I am not going to glue my pocket down because I'm going to do this with my group. So I don't want to, this is my book that I'm going to be working on. So basically you would glue these three sides down, and then you would have your pocket. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about decorating. There are different ways that you can decorate your tags. You know what? Let me get this mess cleaned up first, and I'll be back. I had to clean up my surface because I can't work in a messy surface. It's just too anxiety-ridden for me. All right, so we're going to decorate this tag, and I have a few, let's see. I have some words and stuff, so these have come from different people. These are from Natasha at Treasure Books. I don't even remember the year I got these, but she shared them free. You know, like if you sign up and watch, you know, some of these videos and stuff, they'll give you stuff free. I think these came from Create with Scrimping Mommy, and then I have a bunch that I have done myself. So I've done these on my computer, and then just, you know, cut them out in different colors. Back when I first started doing it, I used the white and the cream, but I am going to start doing them on like a more marbled type paper. Anyhow, so if I can figure out how to share these with everyone, I will. But you don't have to have them. You can get them from the Dollar Tree. You can get little stickers and stuff to put on there. Let me talk about some different embellishments. So you can use gauze. So you can coffee dye the gauze, which I have done here, and literally it's, if there's a little coffee left in the coffee pot, I go in there and put it in a cup and throw these in there, and then I coffee dye them. You can use, if you use dryer sheets at all, these become a great medium for decorating, or you can put that on there and you can coffee dye that as well. You can use, this came from a doily, so this might become part of my decoration. So all I'm going to do is, I think I am going to use this. So what I'm going to do is throw some glue on there. And since this dries clear, that'll be good. I'm going to press that in because I got 2 layers there, so I want it to grab both of the layers. I think I'm going to put this in here. Now, another thing that you can do is you can go to Dollar Tree. You can use stickers. So I've got some of these, which I might use one of those. I've got tons of them, but I just pulled out some that I was kind of thinking of. I have this, and I really want to get rid of this. And see, like, this has good times. I might use this up, and it says always in my heart. Oh, I'm going to use it on something else. But anyway, you can go get some stickers. So I'm going to use this one for sure. But where do I want it? I think I want to put it like up underneath like this, and then put this on. So I like my stuff inked, and believe it or not, I will ink up that sticker. I'll even ink over all the little white parts just because I like it that way. That's the way I like it, but you do whatever you like. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I wanted this underneath, so I'm going to lay that down first. And I also sometimes use this for inking to get in the small spots. And this is just a makeup brush that I dip into my ink, and like if I just didn't seem to get around that as much as I wanted to. Okay, I like that much better. Okay, so we're going to get that out of the way, and then I'm going to put this here. Now this one I'm going to use probably my art glitter glue, because that's going to be hard to get stick glue on. And I see there's some pieces. So this just came from a paper doily, and I probably got it at somebody's shower or something, because I'm always, oh, I just ripped it. Oh well. I'm still going to put it on. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, I'm always like, oh, can I have one of those doilies? Napkins. You can use napkins too. Well, maybe we'll do that. Get out of there. Maybe we'll do that in a different video, how to use napkins in your projects. As I think of things to take to my classes is what I'm going to basically be sharing with you. So that's what this is all about. Let's make a journal. And as I think of things, I'm going to be sharing them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And then instead of using any of the other words I showed you, I think I am going to go ahead and use this one, because I've really been wanting to use this sheet up. I have tons of these, and okay, the only thing is it's kind of dark and it kind of blends in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. But I think I'm going to take a darker piece of paper. So this is just some scrapbook paper I have. And I think I'm going to stick it there, and then I'm just going to cut around it. I'm just going to fussy cut around the shape, and I'm not going to be too persnickety about it. I'm just going to do it just to give it a little more depth. And then I think also, now remember, these are going in journals. You don't want to pop things up down here on the bottom. You want things to be flat because these are going to be going in the card, in the pockets. And if you bulk these up, you're not going to be able to get them in your pockets. But I'm going to go ahead, I think, and is that too wide? No, that'll work. I'm going to pop that up. And like I've said in other videos, I get these in the automotive section at Dollar Tree. I buy a lot of my craft supplies there. And we're going to go ahead and pop that up. But see how that just, boom, boom. Okay, so if you're following along, your pocket is the same type of thing. You're just going to find things that you want to decorate that with and schmooze it up a little bit. And I'll show you at the end what that looks like. I will do one. So now we're going to talk about toppers for your tags. So I have this little die cut machine that actually does several different toppers for me. So I'm going to probably do that, but you don't have to have that. This literally is a piece of book page. It's a piece of the music page, and I just cut it out in a square, and then I just mitered up each side, and then you're gonna just put that over top of your tag, and then you have a little tag tab. You can use just paper and just put your paper over top. Now this is a tablecloth. It was a huge tablecloth. It had a lot of stains. I've been ripping it apart. I use it to coffee dye and use it for book bindings. And then this also can be a pull tab. But you get the idea. I'll have a picture at the end and show you what the pocket came out like. And then we'll move on to the next Let's Make a Journal. So this is part 3. Thanks for hanging with me, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye.